Evening everybody, my name's David. I'm an arm wrestler from Perth, Australia. Relatively new, just over a year in the sport. You may have noticed on my YouTube channel that I've just been posting the West Australian state titles that happened last weekend. And I thought, it being my first competition, it might be worth going over some of my matches, in fact all of my matches, and just reflecting on some of the things that I was thinking about at the time, my plans, and just kind of digest how I did for the comp and what I can take away going forward. So I competed in both the under 80s and the under 95 kilogram classes, both left and right hand. Probably normally I sit around 84 kilos, so I cut down a bit for the comp to pull in both classes. A bit about me, I love pulling in the strap. I don't have a very strong hand or wrist, so I kind of rely on that for my back pressure and my rise, connecting with my lat to pull. So in virtually every match you'll see is me dumping my wrist, getting to straps. So that's the reason why. Also, just as a side note, I did get sick a day or two before the comp. Not as an excuse making thing, I just got sick. It was unfortunate. I'm not sure how much it affected my performance, but definitely hoping next time that I'm healthy right up into it. All right, let's get stuck into it. So we're going to look at the left hand under 80 kilo matches first. First match, I'm up against Luke Ramponi, who is very, very good. One of the top under 80 kilograms in Australia. Definitely in WA, he's up there. And he's been pulling for about 7 years. So you can see here we slip pretty straightforwardly. He's happy to slip, but he knows my style. He knows what I want. He gets really deep into my hand, really deep, blocks my pronation, and just crushes down and flash pins me. First lost on left. Here I'm up against Dev. You can see here, this is how I like to slip, dumping my wrist and just pressing through if I want to slip. And you can see he kind of has enough of my hand. You can't quite see it because my shoulder's in the way. But he has enough of my hand. He was chopping down, but in the end he gives up and pulls out. So we go to the straps. Get stuck in the center, but feel pretty comfortable and just have enough power to push him down. Dev's really strong, but I think he sits around only 70 kilos. So it's a bit rough for him to be pulling in a class where everyone's 10 to 15 kilos heavier than him. Next up against James, who is very strong hand. He does a lot of climbing primarily. So very strong hand. And we get into a bit of a weird situation here with me dumping, trying to get out. But eventually we get to the straps. When we were setting up, I felt really good. You see me laughing and smiling. When we start, I feel good. Look at him, smile at him. I knew that I had him. Jack's lovely fat head in the way. But you can see here, I could have finished there. But I didn't. And he's putting up an amazing effort. His arm's completely extended. But I just let him back up. Well done by him. And he just, in some massive hits, he does an elbow foul and stops the match. This was just terrible pulling by me. I think there was at least 2 occasions where I could have just pinned, but I just got into practice pulling. This is how I pull in practice. Even if I feel stronger than them, I just try and control it and bleed them out, and that's what I was doing here. Terrible tournament strategy, and gassed myself unnecessarily for no reason. And I got a gigantic stitch down my side. And he just got a reset. He elbow fouled, reset, and his next start is much better. He got much more of his cup. Unfortunately, he elbow fouls again, so he loses on fouls, and I'll get through on the left. But he pinned me that second time. He just pinned me as he elbow fouled, so my elbow fouled as he pinned. Up against Newton, strong guy, but I think he had just too many wars at this point, and I was able to just take his hand easy. I think he had some issue with his arm, and he just gave up when he lost his hand. Against Hamish here, one of the Bunbury boys, really strong hook presser, sometimes top rolls. We slip pretty easily. his hand was feeling really strong, and you can see here when we go, I lose my hand straight away, and I'm just not strong enough to hold it, and I'm not fast enough to get my shoulder in to jam it up. Against Braden, another one of the Bunbury boys. Very strong. You can see here, I take his hand, and I felt really good, but when I actually go for getting it onto my side of the table, he's just got so much arm strength, and he was able to get his shoulder forward to block it off, and I didn't budge his arm past center at all. And now I'm out of position. My hand's all the way over here, and he's really close to his hand, pressing down, and presses. I was feeling even comfortable in that position. You see my expression of semi-disbelief. I was very comfortable in that position, even as I'm just getting slammed to the pad over and over again. But a pin's a bin. Like, it doesn't matter how comfortable I am if I'm getting pinned. It's kind of stupid. So up against Dev again. This is on the right hand. So I've got one loss. He gets a big hit on me. But I was able to catch it, and as I take him over, he elbow fouls, reset. And much the same thing, he gets a good hit on me, but I'm able to catch it, gets his shoulder behind it, and I just start working. One thing you can see from all my matches, complete lack of aggression, and lack of intensity, lack of venom, viciousness, aggression. It's just kind of slow working away. I think I really need to work on that for comps. Get aggressive. The fact is, my style is I like draining. I like endurance and squeezing and draining the opponent. But terrible tournament strategy, so I need to work on that. Up against James again. He elbow fouls as I try and dump and push. Then I elbow foul intentionally because I was getting pinned. So this is, we've both got an elbow foul, slip underneath, dubious slip. And he was feeling strong, his right felt strong here. And you can see he gets hand control, gets on top of my hand, and I'm not tight enough. My shoulder needs to be much closer to my hand at this point, and he's able to just ease it down. I actually have a decent jam if I do get my shoulder close with my right arm, but I was just nowhere close and he was too strong. So that was my under 80 kilo performance. We'll look at the under 95 pulls now. I just missed one loss on my left hand, so this is my second pull with my left in the under 95s. I think this guy's brand new, really strong hand, but he's brand new, so I was able to just get a bit in the setup and then just kind of power him down. I think this is one of the Sydney boys, Tom. Happy to slip. We were wrestling forever in the setup, trying to get it, get comfortable. I reached a point where I got quite comfortable in the setup, with no rest grip, and then he did a massive adjustment, you know, climbing up, lift the elbow up, pulling me off, and then settling back down, and that took everything away from me. I was so far buried in his hand that my thumb was barely reaching his webbing. I was just so far underneath. It was clever by him, and you can see here the way we start, my hand is already underneath his. It's just not even close, and he just pulls me over easily. So that was 2 losses on my left, so that's it. On right hand now, I'm not sure of this guy's name. I think he's part of the Bunbury Club, relatively new, very strong hand, strong wrist, but I'm able to get it off the go. You can see he's got quite a lot of power. I think in hindsight I should have worked at climbing. I was trying to push him out of his shoulder, push his hand outside his shoulder, so there's a bit of side pressure, and cranking his hand. I think I should have tried to climb much sooner on top of his hand. You can see I do it eventually. Eventually, after 2 years, there we go. Climb, and I'm able to get him. I think I really should have been working that, getting high knuckles. Here my left hand's cramping up like crazy. Unable to shake his hand. But that was my right hand. Close match, good match. This guy just smashes me, not even close. Don't have enough strength at this point. This match is against Johan. Guy with a really strong hand. He's able to just kind of press me to the pad. Train with Johan all the time. Strong dude. He did well there. So yeah, those are my matches from the West Australian state titles for 2021. A lot to take away from it. I think the main thing is really work my hand and wrist over the next year. Get much more comfortable out of straps and get aggressive. Work on my hit. I plan on trying to make 2 sessions a week for the next year. Get a lot of table time, a lot of experience, pull a lot of guys stronger than me, which is not hard to do. And I work my hand and wrist at home for the most part. Thanks guys for watching. Appreciate it. Hit subscribe, like the videos, comment. Plenty more to come. WA Arm Wrestling.